Students, good morning to all. So we'll continue our chapter 2, acid, base and salts. So today we are going to discuss the last and final topic of this chapter. And as we discussed in our previous video about this salt, the type of salts, acidic salt, basic salt and neutral salts. Even we discussed the different families related to the salt, that is chloride family, nitrite family, sulfate family and carbonate family. So in that we discuss how the salt is formed, the preparation of salt, NaCl, then in the different families how it will form with the acid and base. So here today in this video I am going to discuss the important salts that are common salts generally we are using, that is NaCl, that is sodium chloride, NaHCO3, sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate. Then Na2co3, that sodium carbonate, Na2co3. Okay. Then CaOCl2, that is a bleaching powder or calcium oxychloride. Then last is a CaSO4 into half H2O, that is plaster of Paris POP, or we call as a calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay, that also we can name. Now first I will start how to prepare NaCl. As we have discussed in our previous video, when NaCl is formed, it reacts with both acid and base. So suppose I am taking, this is NaCl, so generally the name is, the common name is common salt and scientific, that chemical name is sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. And this sodium chloride generally we found in oceans. Okay, so that you are aware. And chemically also we can make it. So here sodium chloride. So first it reacts with any acid and base. It will give us salt, that is sodium chloride. So here you can see when acid react with base, it will give salt, that is NaCl. Now my dear student, we can take acid, any of the acid we can take. Suppose I am taking acid, that is HCl, because I want NaCl, and base I can take NaOH. Okay, so these two, acid and base, react with each other and it will give us salt, NaCl and H2O. So this is a formation of NaCl. So NaCl, it is a common salt, or we can say sodium chloride. So as we know that the uses of common salt, generally this type of salts we are using in the industries, even we are using in the cooking purpose and to get the taste of the food. And salt we are using in if you know that, to neutralize the effect of that, if you know this, generally food additives, if you know that, salt is also added as a food additives to stop the foiling of the food. So that also we are using, so that you know the importance of NaCl, so we are not wasting time. And the properties of the NaCl, the property of the NaCl is more soluble in water, and that is why it makes the alkaline solution, and they have white crystals. Generally if you take that, you will understand that it has a white crystals. So generally we are using Tata salt. In the Tata salt you will see the white crystals, and they are using the crystallization process. If you know that, they are making with the help of crystallization process. So that are the uses of NaCl, and the different properties are there, and how this type of NaCl when react with any of the acid or base, they will form different salts. So here we have two important salts, that is NaHCO3 and Na2co3. So NaHCO3, that we know, that is sodium bicarbonate. It is a sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3. Now here, when we take sodium bicarbonate, it is formed by different, you can see here, different chemicals will add, and then it will form sodium bicarbonate. Generally, sodium bicarbonate we call as baking soda. Which soda? It is called as baking soda. Baking soda. Okay. Now NaCl, ammonia, NH3, CO2 and H2O react with each other. It will give us NaHCO3, that is sodium hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate, and it will liberate ammonium chloride as a product. Ammonium chloride as a product. Now this is very much important, because in exam they can ask, write the chemical equation for the formation of sodium bicarbonate. So this sodium bicarbonate formula we have to use, and this equation we need to write in exam. So how to remember in our words, sodium chloride and ammonia react in the presence of carbon dioxide and water. It will give a product, that is sodium hydrogen carbonate, and it will liberate ammonium chloride as a byproduct. So this is the way we will easily identify the sodium bicarbonate, that is a baking soda, and the uses of this sodium bicarbonate, that is baking soda, generally we are using in the paper and the cotton. Bleaching powder we are using baking soda in the paper and cotton, and it is used in the clothes. Generally we are using in the clothes also. So when we are adding this type of baking soda into the clothes, even we add it and it makes soft, the clothes become soft. Then this type of baking soda we are using in the insecticides to prevent the insects, even we are using the pesticides, even we are using in the different chemicals formation. So in that also we are using this baking soda. So these are the uses and the properties. If you see the properties of the baking soda, generally this is white. They are white crystals. They are soluble and they are alkaline solution. They need generally, if you know that this type of baking soda available in the medical, if you know that medical they are available. So properties in that they are alkaline. Generally they are alkaline, they are not acidic. Remember that they are alkaline solution. When we add into the water, they become soluble and they consider as an alkaline. Next, the byproduct, if you take this NaCl, after that third is formed, that is a sodium carbonate, Na2co3, sodium carbonate, that is the third product will get sodium carbonate. My dear students, sodium carbonate, Na2co3, generally we call as washing soda. Which soda we call? Washing soda. Washing soda. And this washing soda we are using in the, because it said indicate that washing means to wash the clothes, wash, and it make the clothes soft. So we are using the washing soda to strengthen, to make the soft clothes. And even this washing soda, if you know that this washing soda generally we are using in the food also we are using. If any germs would be there, or any what we can say, any insects or any other microbes will be there, we are adding this washing soda to wash the fruits, wash the vegetables also. So in that also we are using this Na2co3. Now foremost I want to tell you in this NaHCO3, if you know this, one thing I am going to tell you, in our school there is one fire extinguisher. There are many other, in each and every school you will get. So NaHCO3, so if you consider NaHCO3, when it reacts with acid, generally fire extinguisher NaHCO3 react with H2SO4, sulfuric acid, and it will give the product that is H2S. In that it will give the product will get, that product we will get, that is Na2SO4 plus you will get CO2, that is formed, and H2O. So this is the equation in the fire extinguisher. When fire extinguisher knob will open, so that time the NaHCO3 react with H2SO4 and it will give sodium sulfate, and the form which is coming out from the fire extinguisher, that is CO2 and some amount of water. So that is some, if you, that when we spray this fire extinguisher you feel cool because of this. Okay, so that also you can include in this. So here we will come back to the Na2CO3. Now how it will form? NaHCO3 when heated at the high temperature, when we apply heat at the high temperature, it will give us Na2CO3, and as a byproduct H2O plus CO2 we will get. So here Na2CO3 and H2O CO3, again it will form NaHCO3. That is also possible. So here when NaHCO3 heated at the high temperature, it will give us Na2CO3, H2O and CO2. So like that we will find out, we will prepare this washing soda by using the NaHCO3, that is baking soda. Now next, the important two topics in this we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss, so that is CaOCl, that is a bleaching powder. Bleaching powder. This is a bleaching powder. Bleaching powder we are using to clean our clothes. In the insecticides, in pesticides we are using this. So bleaching powder we are using, generally different powders are there. Nirma, okay, bleaching powder. Then different Tata bleaching powder. Then many other bleaching powders are there, and the chemical name of this is calcium oxy calcium oxychloride. This is the chemical name of CaOCl2, and the common name is bleaching powder. Now bleaching powder, the property is it is very soft. When we add into the water, it form a foam. So it is, we can say it is very soft, and it is soluble in water. Okay, so here remember that this is very interesting, very important. CaOH twice, that is calcium hydroxide react with chlorine. It will give us CaOCl2, that is calcium oxychloride, and it liberates some amount of water. Okay, so this is the formation and the preparation of bleaching powder. So calcium hydroxide react with chlorine, it will give us CaOCl2 and H2O. So my dear students, we have to find out, we have to just look at in this, and we easily find out the properties and the uses of it. Generally, first use in the cleaning clothes, even in the industries, even in the insecticides, even in the different medical shops, even in if you know that it's called the cleansing agent also, if you know. So here these are the uses and the properties. It react with chlorine and it make the alkaline solution, and some amount of water is released. Okay, so that also you can include in this. Now next, very much important according to the exam point of view, CaSO4 into half H2O. CaSO4 into half H2O. So it is generally called as plaster of Paris. Okay, plaster of Paris, or we can say it is POP. That is plaster of Paris. So this is the common name of CaSO4 into half H2O, plaster of Paris, POP, and chemical name is calcium sulfate H2O, that is hemi hydrate. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate. So this is the chemical name of CaSO4 into half H2O, that is POP and plaster of Paris. So remember my dear students, in exam it can be asked what is the chemical formula of calcium sulfate hemihydrate or POP or plaster of Paris, and frequently each and every year either or they are asking. Bleaching powder or plaster of Paris, each and every year they are asking, write the chemical formula or chemical equation of bleaching powder formation and plaster of Paris formation. So here we are having this CaSO4 into 2H2O. Now CaSO4 into 2H2O is what? It is gypsum. It is gypsum. So in exam you remember this, the formula of plaster of Paris and gypsum is somewhat different. Here you can see 2 molecules of hydrogen, whereas in a plaster of Paris it is only half molecule. So that is hemihydrate. And when it is heated up to 100 degrees Celsius, it will give us POP and 1.5 molecule of H2O. So this is POP and H2O. Okay, now opposite will be formed, that is vice versa reaction. Now from this it will form CaSO4 into 2H2 also. Okay, remember this, vice versa is possible. From POP gypsum can be possible. The formation of gypsum also possible, and gypsum to plaster of Paris, that is also possible. Now what are the properties? Now this type of plaster of this type of calcium sulfate hemihydrate react with any of the we can say, suppose it react with gypsum, and it will form this CaSO4 into half H2O. And if you know the use, the properties, if you consider by taking the example of generally this type of plaster of Paris, the property if you consider, so here we are having different properties. So they are soapy in touch, they are very soft. When it becomes hard, that is different, but when we apply, and generally this type of chemicals we are using in the when there is a fracture, you know, the fracture or any accident, that time we are using this. So in this we are using this plaster of Paris to lap that. If bone is broken, so we are winding this, we are overlapping it, so it will stable that. Okay, so that purpose also we are using. And it is white amorphous powder, generally they are white powder. And if you know this, we are making dustless chalk. Dustless chalk also we are making from this, so that also possible. So next, if you consider this, my dear student, this is very much important. These two topics are very much important because they frequently they ask in that different forms of plus are there in that CaSO4 into 5H2O. So different formats are there, different, but in that what is important? These molecules of hydrogen is important. That is copper sulfate into pentahydrate. So like that many are there, just we have to go through it. Now my humble request to all of you to prepare the uses and properties. Uses and properties of NaCl, NaHCO3, Na2co3, CaOCl2 and CaSO4 into half H2. So all uses and properties you have to find out from the textbook. All things are there, make note of it and prepare. So this is my humble request. This is the end of this chapter, and in our coming video we will go for the another chapter. So that is first and final chapter that we are completing our syllabus in the chemistry. So thank you, have a nice day. Please prepare. These are the important topics, especially the chemicals and the equations you need to prepare. Write it 5 times, 10 times for your preparation. I am not telling you to write 10 times. Just prepare, and you have enough time to prepare this. So thank you, have a nice day.